Welcome to SunBeast Live. I'm Adrien Valente with Sunbit, and if you're one of our dental partners, you're in the right place. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Wednesday, February 14th. We're so glad you could make it. We love seeing all the shout outs and chat, and we have a very special episode for you today with a special guest. But if you're new to the program, like many of you are, use this time to ask questions via chat, Q&A, or share how you're feeling with reactions in your Zoom webinar control panel. If you need to reach out to our teams for training and marketing help, success@sunbit.com, as well as help with your SunBeast mobile app, points and rewards, sbsupport@sunbit.com. For those of you new folks, you might be curious, wait a minute, what is all this SunBeast stuff? What's going on? I don't understand. Well, hey, listen, if you're trained and certified on Sunbit technology, you are a SunBeast, giving you access to a lot of different tools, benefits, and rewards amongst the Sunbit ecosystem. And we now have, as of this morning, over 147,000 certified SunBeasts nationwide, and the whole point of the program is to say thank you, to reward you, to recognize you, to celebrate you, to help make your day-to-day a little bit easier while having some fun along the way. In fact, dental is now the fastest growing segment of the SunBeast community, and you can see we're hyper-focused on local, everyday needs: car service and repair, dental care, optical care, veterinary care, and more as we continue to expand into other local need-based industries. And of course, the crown jewel of the SunBeast experience is the SunBeast mobile app, giving you access to a great knowledge center with tips, best practices, video content, and more. There's also rankings and leaderboards to see where you stand, as well as rewards points that you earn for different Sunbit activities that you can redeem for cash through Venmo, PayPal, or a variety of different gift card options. People are getting points for being here. Not too shabby, but I'm getting carried away. We got to move on. In all seriousness, you have other tools to access, like our Sunbit Business Dashboard, giving you access to powerful insights and analytics. Reach out to our success team for help reviewing your data to understand the story that it tells you. Understand the impact you've been making with Sunbit technology. Understand the impact you've been making with your community and the patients you've helped. Check it out today, dashboard.sunbit.com. You also have access to our Sunbit Training Academy to continue your education and refresh your Sunbit certification. Our learning management system, the Sunbit Training Academy, actually integrates with LinkedIn. So if you maybe got certified in person a long time ago, you can actually check out the Academy, refresh your certification, and connect it to your LinkedIn profile. Being a SunBeast also gives you access to all the wonderful people at Sunbit making all this possible. We're a small but mighty team of over 500 employees serving each and every one of you and your patients. We have our headquarters in Los Angeles. A big shout out to all the key account managers who live in different states and travel each and every day to visit your locations. And of course, a big shout out to our famous Nevada call center. You know them as partner support and your patients know them as customer care. We don't outsource collections or third parties to any collections agencies or external stuff. Everything's internal. Everything's done by a Sunbit employee. We're so proud of the fact, so a big shout out. Actually, we had a new hire class of 25 that just hit the phones last week. A big congratulations to that class for graduating, and they're up and running, so more people jumping in to help out. We're so excited. Lots of great stuff. By the way, speaking of Sunbit, folks, if you're in Miami, February 16th through the 18th, we're going to be at the Guardian Dentistry Partners Retreat. Be sure to stop by the booth and say hello. Also, a big shout out to Sunbit's marketing team for sponsoring some of my continuing education courses. 3 of them are currently in rotation with ADOM, CE Zoom, Dental Products Report, Inside Dentistry, and Viva Learning. Go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn if you want to stay up to date on all the new stuff, because tomorrow I'm dropping brand new content. ADOM Quickcast, not for CE credits because it's a Quickcast, but it will be simulcast on ADOM's Facebook and LinkedIn pages, their YouTube channel. But we're going to go through a brand new report. The results are in. We're going to be able to look at the DNA for the top performing high growth practices in the industry. We did this last year, did it again this year. I'll actually be debuting it tomorrow with ADOM, but I'm going to bring it to class next time on SunBeast Live. So be sure to tune in for future episodes. Also, this past Wednesday, my episode and guest spot on T-Bone's podcast, Dentistry Made Simple. You might remember T-Bone. He was a guest of ours back in December. And this past Monday, the episode dropped on patient financing with SunBeast. Be sure to check it out. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff and more. And you got to make sure you keep turning into SunBeast Live, because this is where you can keep your finger on the pulse of everything that's happening in the SunBeast ecosystem, your SunBeast community, and all the guests we bring on board. Like when we had Stephen J. Anderson and Pam Peterson with us at the end of December to talk about the insurance coding changes to look out for in 2024. If you want to check out the recording of that webinar, take a look at the QR code on the right, or on the left, you can download their checklist for those insurance coding changes. It was a stellar session, and this is the perfect segue to our special guest for today. Stephen J. Anderson is back for his 4th guest appearance on SunBeast Live. Stephen, how are you, sir?
Adrien, good to be back, and a happy Valentine's Day to everyone all over the country.
We love to see it. Thanks for coming back. I can't, but I was having deja vu a couple of weeks ago. We were hosting our SunBeast Awards, and at the awards, for some of you that attended, we had talked about the fact that you were coming up as a guest soon, which is exactly what we did last year. You were our first industry guest ever on SunBeast Live a year ago, and here you are making your 4th appearance.
Again.
What's been keeping you busy? How are you?
I'm doing great. In fact, I'm excited for today because we have some very special Valentine's content and tips for today. So grab your pencils, grab your phone, because you'll need your phone here before we get done. And we're actually, Adrien, I'm going to share my screen today, especially for Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about the top 10 ways to love your patients so they will love you. Is that a Valentine's appropriate topic? What do you think?
I like it. It's very on theme for today.
Yes. So these are specific things that we recommend the practices do everywhere. As Adrien, as you know, at Total Patient Service, our mission is to set the standard for patient service around the country. Our mission is to make dentistry the #1 patient service segment in healthcare, so that when your patients go anywhere else in healthcare, whether it's to their family practice physician, their dermatologist, the hospital, wherever it is, that they say to those people, either in their mind or to them, I wish everyone in healthcare would treat me the way they treat me at my dental office. So
Yes.
This is the standard for patient care for Total Patient Service. We're going to share 10 ways that you can love your patients so they will love you. All right. So Adrien, are you ready?
Yeah, I think we just need to fix the PowerPoint real quick. It looks like we're seeing, I know we were, I'm sorry, Stephen. It was probably my Zoom setup fault, so my apologies. But we appreciate you making the time. Let's see if we can get this into presenter mode real quick. Top 10 ways to love your patients so they'll love you. I'm excited for this one because I need to make sure I get my notebook. Hold on.
All right, get your notebook out, Adrien.
I got my notes. Hold on. There we go. It's a SunBeast notebook.
How's that? Is that better, Adrien?
Looks good.
Bam. Okay. Top 10 ways. You ready?
I am.
Okay. Some of these are common sense. Some of them common sense, but uncommonly practiced. So this is going to be the standard for patient service. All right. So #1, anticipate every patient's arrival. So what we're going to do away with, Adrien, is no longer will the words, you hear this everywhere else in healthcare and other businesses, never, ever, ever should a patient be greeted with the lame greeting of, may I help you? We are never going to utter those words again. Instead, we're taking a look at the schedule. We know who's scheduled for what at each specific time. So, Adrien, if you're scheduled at 9 a.m. and I'm there at the front, I'm constantly looking at the schedule. And even if you're a new patient and at 8:55 in walks a guy, and I look at the schedule and say, gee, 9 o'clock, Adrien Valente, then I have a pretty good indication of who's going to be walking through the door. So no more may I help you, but we're anticipating every patient's arrival because we're looking at the schedule and we're looking at who's walking through the door. So unless you have just like a crazy busy practice with, 10 different providers and people just constantly coming in, it's pretty, for most practices, it's pretty reasonable to anticipate a patient's arrival. We're going to have a personalized greeting, but never, ever, ever do we ever say, may I help you? Number two is then goes with that is greet every patient by name. So Adrien, when you walk through the door, then the greeting is going to be, if you're a new patient, I'm going to say, welcome, you must be Adrien Valente. And if you're not, if I make a mistake and you say, no, I'm Bob Jones, then all I say is, well, that's what I was going to say next. Right? In other words,
I love that.
Just in other words, go ahead, take a risk, 80%, 90% of the time, you're going to be right. And for all the hypochondriacs out there, not to worry, right? If you're concerned about violating patient confidentiality, here's just a quick footnote about HIPAA, Adrien. There's one word that is repeated 53 times in the HIPAA law. 53 times. It is the word reasonableness. So you protect your patient's data from a reasonable standpoint, right? So it is perfectly fine. If you're looking at the schedule, you're anticipating arrival, it is perfectly fine to greet your patient by name, especially your existing patients, because they expect you to know who they are. So anticipate, use their name. One of my favorite books, it's a classic, Adrien, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And if there's anybody here that is watching that has never read that book, I consider it a patient service mandate. Anybody in customer service, patient service, ought to have that as one of their first reading assignments, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's been out for almost 100 years. It's sold nearly 200 million copies around the world. It is the Bible for customer service. And one of the simplest concepts in that book is a person's name is to that person the sweetest sound and the most important sound in any language. So use their name. We have a practice that we work with in Irving, Texas, 21st Century Dental. They have 18 treatment rooms. And one of the things I love that they do is they have a small whiteboard outside of every treatment room. And when the patient walks in, they write the patient's name down on the whiteboard so that any team member, when they walk through that door into the treatment room, whether it's the doctor, the dental assistant, the hygienist, the appointment coordinator, the treatment coordinator, everybody, the last thing they see before they walk through that door is the patient's name. So they can use that immediately when they sit down. There's never any question about who they're going to be in front of. Sweetest sound in any language, simple idea, uncommonly used. And if I could make this suggestion, this afternoon, Adrien, I'm going to be in the pediatric dentist's office with one of my kids. And if you happen to be in pediatrics, one of my peeves, if you follow me on Instagram, the Stephen J. Anderson, on Instagram, I do a whole series called Steve's Peeves.
I love those.
These
clips.
are customer service.
I follow you on Instagram.
And one of my peeves is in pediatrics, in the school system, wherever it is where you're dealing with children and parents. One of my peeves is calling the adult dad or mom. Right. So I walk into the pediatric office and the nurse says, well, dad, and she's talking about, I am not your dad. So call your patients by name. If you're in pediatrics, call the parents by their name. Use Mr. Anderson or whatever your preferred, but call them by name. They're not your dad. They're not your mom, but call them by name. It's the sweetest sound in any language. All right. Number 3, this is simple. Smile. Right now, I know this is like, really, Steve, you're telling us to smile? Yes. So here's the whole concept. If you're familiar with the neuroscience around this, there's a whole science around, Adrien, what's called mirror neurons. So they're actually neurons in our brain that have the automatic reaction that we mirror what we see. So for most people, when they see a smile, what's your automatic reaction? smile
Just
back,
smile back.
right? So if you want happy patients, if you want patients that love you and are smiling at you, you smile at them, because the mirror neurons for most people will have that immediate reaction is to smile back. Just try this the next time you're out grocery shopping as you go down the aisle, and just smile at everybody and watch what happens. For most people, they cannot resist that response to smile back. If they don't smile back, you probably don't want to be around them anyway. So smile at your patients, make sure they smile back, especially when they first walk into the office. I know it's simple and it is commonly violated. In dentistry, we are in a relationship business. We are in the business of building relationships. We are not in the teeth business. Dentistry is not about teeth. It's about the people that are attached to the teeth. So that starts with a warm greeting and just, hey, smile at people. Be glad they came in. All right, next one. This is a fun one. Acknowledge special days. So today is a special day. The other one that I really love is tracking. One of the things that you have in your patient database, in your practice management system, is everyone's birthday, right? You have that as it's one of the first things they provide you when they become a patient. So everyone's special day. So here's a fun example from Rodeo Dental. Rodeo Dental is a pediatric practice that is based in Fort Worth, Texas, and they have a practice habit of acknowledging patients' birthdays with a birthday cake. So if you come in to the practice on the week of your birthday, you actually get a birthday cake presented to you with balloons and the cake and a big celebration if you come in the week of your birthday. So they've just made that part of their practice culture, acknowledging and recognizing special patient days. So whether it's a birthday, whether it's special days on the calendar, but have some fun with your team and acknowledge special days in your patients' lives. All right, next one this is a fun one that we call recognizing a patient of the month. Now you can do a patient of the month. You can do several patients of the month. You could do a patient of the month every day. So here's how this works. I'll give you one example of one practice. They select several different patients of the month, and it might be a patient who has referred a lot to the practice. It might be a patient who's had a lot of work done. It just might be a patient that they love because they just are pleasant to be with. And they actually do a delivery. Our favorite is to do a delivery to their office, to actually where they work, and deliver a large cookie, a pie. In this case, this is a pie. Now, if you want just a quick idea here, if you go to Costco, Adrien, you want to guess the price of a Costco apple pie? Take a guess. How much? Cost of a Costco apple pie.
$12?
$5.
What? Really? The big ones?
Your Costco may be different, but you can get a Costco big apple pie for very, very little. You can go to the dollar store and grab some plates and some napkins, some forks and a knife, and put together a really nice looking package like you see here. And for very, very economical investment, you can go to and recognize a patient as the patient of the month. This is one example where this practice, they do a patient of the month. They do a little social media event where they take their picture, post it on their social media with the patient's permission, of course. And it is unexpected, out of proportion to what anybody thinks. And it is a huge patient recognition, fun thing. And what happens is they end up sharing the love with everyone at work, because what are they going to do with that big, huge pie and all the plates and the forks? They have to share it. And the topic of conversation, of course, is going to be their dentist who brought this great thing. So it's an automatic generator, word of mouth, and it always puts a big smile on the patient's face. So this is one of our favorite things, to love your patients so they will love you. The next one, convenient appointment scheduling. So there's a couple of suggestions here. One, online appointment scheduling, so the patients can get on your website, they can schedule a patient. And our favorite is always do chairside scheduling. So the rule here, Adrien, is that no patient ever leaves without a future scheduled appointment. If they leave without an appointment, you're going to have to chase them down and try and find them. So everybody leaves with a future scheduled appointment. And our challenge to every dental practice is be like the Hotel California. You remember that song from the Eagles, Adrien? All right, do you remember the chorus? Let's see if you can remember the chorus.
No, I'm the worst at lyrics.
There we go.
I'm
You'll remember this.
notoriously bad.
You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. You can never leave, right? So that's the chorus of the
I'm so
Hotel
embarrassed.
California. So your practice is just like the Hotel California. They're going to check out after their appointment, but they will never leave the practice as a patient because they always have a future scheduled appointment, right? That's the mandate. And the easiest way to make that happen is schedule chairside. Well, it's convenient. They're sitting there. And here's just a quick tip. This is a verbal skill. Never, ever ask a patient if they want to schedule their next appointment. So Adrien, I would never ask you, Adrien, would you like to schedule your next appointment? I'm never going to ask you that. What I'll always say is, Adrien, while you're here and it's convenient, let's go ahead and schedule your next appointment. Does this week, does this time, is this a good time for you, right? So it's an assumptive close, and we're going to go ahead and schedule your next appointment, right? So that's the habit, and patients will appreciate the fact that they always have something on the radar to look forward to, that they know when they're coming back. You never leave that to question. Hotel California, always have their next scheduled appointment on the books. All right, here's the next one. This is what we call comfort options. So the dental office ought to be one of the most comfortable places that you go. In fact, Adrien, when you think about it, where else do you go that you get to recline in a comfortable chair, lean back, and heck, take a nap if you want? So dentistry by nature, typically most people think of the drill and all the things they're going to do, but really dentistry ought to be one of the most comfortable places that you go. So here would be the question is, do you offer comfort options like a blanket? Not a blankie, but but a blanket, right? So they can keep warm. A lot of practices, because you're working hard every day and it's physical labor, they keep the back office pretty cool. So offering your patients a blanket, headphones, sedation choices, different fluoride flavors. All right, Adrien, what's your favorite flavor of fluoride?
I didn't know there were flavors.
Oh,
What?
there are so many flavors. Yeah.
What?
So you can have just about any flavor that you want. So if your practice, give your patients a menu. They get to choose which flavor of fluoride they want. So do they want mint or grape or orange or whatever you want? There's so many different choices today. So give your patients a choice of the more choices that people have in terms of services, then satisfaction tends to go up. Now, let me differentiate that. Not treatment options, that's a whole other deal. I'm talking about service options. So would you like a blanket? Do you want headphones? You want sedation choices, different flavors of fluoride? All those are to customize their experience and then make a note of that. So if Adrien comes in and mint is his favorite flavor of fluoride, then the next time he comes in, I will already know that. And I'll say, Adrien, last time you told me you loved mint flavored fluoride. Is that what you prefer again today? Right. So I'm always tracking what their patient preferences are. We have a lot of practices that actually have a different sound system for each treatment room. So you actually pick your music. You get to pick your music that you want to listen to while we're in the room. So different comfort options. All right. Next one is remember me. And I just mentioned this as an example, is keep track of the conversations and the things that your patients prefer, and write something down in their chart to remember for their next visit. So Adrien, if I were sitting with you and you happen to mention, your recent trip to the Bahamas or your upcoming trip to the Bahamas, I'm going to write that down. So the next time you come in, I'm going to ask you about your trip to the Bahamas or whatever it is, your birthday coming up, whatever it is, but write something down in the chart that you can refer to at their next visit so that they know that you remember them, that it's a continuous relationship. Then here is number 10. Adrien, a fond farewell. So this one is from one of my favorite service organizations, the Ritz-Carlton. This is one of their service values, and one of their what they call simple steps of service is that every guest gets a fond farewell, a personalized greeting as they walk out the door, a thank you for coming, but it is a fond farewell, so that they're looking forward to coming back. So sincere greeting when they come in, anticipate arrival, use their name, and when they leave, it's a fond farewell that you're looking forward to seeing them next time. Now, Adrien, that's 10 if you've been keeping track, and I have a bonus. Are you ready for the bonus? I think we need a big drum roll for this one. This one actually is the important one. Number 11. Oh, wait, that's 9. I got one more. Handwritten notes. That was the anticipation before there. So this is number 10, handwritten notes. This is a lost art to resurrect in your practice, which is send handwritten notes to your patients in writing. So we have practices all over the country that make this a daily habit. Is every team member gets the opportunity to write a handwritten note to at least one patient every day. It might be somebody that completed treatment. It might be somebody that referred another patient, somebody that left an online review. But handwritten notes mean so much more to people. A handwritten thank you, acknowledgement, mail it off to them, is one more way to love your patients so they can love you. That, I believe, is number 10. Here is number 11. Fast, easy, convenient payment options. Always, always, always offer SunBeast. Make it easy for them, and they will make it easy for you. So it's one of the things that we at Total Patient Service, we love the SunBeast application because it's quick, it's easy, no application. Just hand them your driver's license and they get information back immediately of the choices they have. Make it easy for them to pay, and they will make it easy for you to do the work that you have prescribed. So there's your top 11 ways, not 10, but top 11 ways. If you would like to share these 11 things with your team, grab your phone. And we've summarized all of these in one quick download. So you can scan the QR code and you can download this list of top 11 ways with a short description of each. Share that with your team, incorporate it into how you deliver what we call total patient service so that you can love your patients, they'll love you in return, and your practice can become the #1 patient service place in healthcare in your community, that you stand head and shoulders above everyone else in healthcare, and the model and the example of how patients should be treated in healthcare. We see more of America in dentistry every day than any other healthcare profession. We see patients 1, 2, up to 4 times a year or more, and we're seeing 50 to 60% of America. Nobody in healthcare sees more of America than we do in dentistry. And so in our world, we think that merits the responsibility to set the standard for patient service for all of healthcare. So we hope you'll join us on that mission. Take these 11 things, implement them with your team. There's a lot more where this came from, but this is our top 11 ways to love your patients so they will love you from Total Patient Service. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Stephen J. Anderson, thank you so much for sharing this with us. I see Jennifer Knox letting us know in the Q&A. I love it. Our office does everything you talked about.
Bam.
Love to see it. And by the way, you know, this is such a great example of what we do on SunBeast Live, where we try to provide training beyond the normal SunBeast basics, beyond the regular SunBeast stuff. We have plenty of folks on our success team on standby, success@sunbeast.com, to help you with any of your basics. But although soon we'll be going back to our regular programming, you know, having a guest like you, Stephen J. Anderson, helps us really understand more of how we can serve our patients better. And thanks for weaving SunBeast into that. That's
absolutely
cool.
Yeah, it's part of the success formula. Is there are so many people that want to have a healthy mouth, want to get the dentistry done. More often than not, a lot of what we do in dentistry is unanticipated. There are those who come in looking for a full mouth restorative cosmetic case. Of course, there's that. And the majority of what happens in dentistry is not necessarily anticipated or expected. So when there is an unexpected investment, and I'm not going to call it an expense, because anything that you invest in your mouth it's an investment, it's not an expense. So having a convenient, easy way to make that happen that fits into a patient's budget makes it easier for them to get what they want, to have the smile they deserve, and to keep track and keep on track with their health. Very important thing. What goes on here and the visit they make to your office on a regular basis in our book is one of the most important health maintenance activities in which anyone can engage. They need to see you on a regular basis if they're going to stay healthy. And SunBeast's one of those things that makes it happen. So privileged to be associated with you, Adrien. Thanks for the opportunity to share our Valentine's list for today. And challenge everybody. Yeah, love on your patients, not just today, but every day, so that they will love you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen J. Anderson, putting
Thanks,
on a
everybody.
clinic.
Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Well, I know you're a busy man. We're going to let you go. I'm going to stick around to answer SunBeast questions. We'll dive into some basic training, and we'll do a poll to see what our audience wants to cover next. But, Stephen, I hope we can have you back soon.
Anytime. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you as always.